So Phylicia Pearl Mpasi with us in the building.
Yes.
Wow, finally, my God.
Finally.
This is great. This
Yeah.
is awesome. Man, it was so hard to get hold of you. We've been trying it, but we understand how busy you can be. At the same time,
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah,
I
no, we had
appreciate
to. We had to. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How's life?
Yeah. Life is interesting. Life is different. Life is new. Life is exciting. Life, I guess, right now is full of possibility.
I love that.
Yeah.
You just made me dream about myself. Possibility, dreams, and all that kind of stuff. This is great because you are being viewed today by most young African girls, actresses, and those who also want to break into the industry as a role model today. It's a big news to them when they heard that, Phylicia is an African, is a Congolese. This is really big news. And I'm sure I'm not telling you something you don't know, but you already know that they look up to you now. It's quick and it goes fast. But Phylicia, tell us what inspired you to pursue a career in acting and writing that you are today.
I remember being a child. I loved, and I might be aging myself, I loved Raven Simone.
Oh my God.
Just
I remember
everything
Raven.
that she did. I thought she was so funny. She was so charismatic, and I wanted to be that. And then, I feel like TV was a really, really big part of my life growing up. We often, spent holidays around the TV, and if there were this was back in the day, you had to watch something live on TV. So, the feel of rushing home to watch something, because then you'd have to wait until it would come on a rerun.
Right.
I just saw the joy that it brought my family, especially my mom. Like, to this day, she still laughs at episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I wanted to do something like that and just bring joy and happiness to people.
And since you were little.
Yeah, since I was,
Wow.
I feel like it. I feel like it went like the first woman in the NBA.
Yeah.
Then it went to president of the United States, and then I landed at like actor. I still wanted to be the first at something or the greatest, and then make an impact.
I like that.
Yeah.
And you made it first of something.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah?
I don't know. It's weird because I've envisioned this for my life for a very long time.
That's good when you actually envision that.
Yeah, so sometimes I'm very excited all the time. Then there is a part of me that's like, well, we knew, so we felt it.
I feel you.
Yeah.
That's right. It's like something you already knew. And sometimes people don't realize that you actually started this long time ago.
Yes. Yeah.
You knew. Everybody was like, oh my God, that's Phylicia that we knew right here? What's going on?
People were calling me crazy, annoying, acting like there was no way I was going to do it. Because no one from where we're from essentially was kind of followed this career path. And you hear often like, you got to move to California to be a child star. And that wasn't an option at the time. So, there were some doubtful people, but there are definitely some that were like, we always knew you were just very headstrong and said you were going to do it.
Now, you didn't start, yes, a lot of people woke up in the morning with like, okay, Color Purple, blah, 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 Phylicia's in there playing a role. But you didn't stop there.
No.
Where did you start?
How far back do you want?
Yeah.
Oh, far back. Okay.
Right. Far back. Yeah. Like really the beginning.
Okay. Beginning starts at I would say church.
Okay.
We had a Christmas pantomime every year.
Yeah.
And you could like rise the ranks. So I feel like I started as like a sheep. And then went to like a wise man, and then finally I didn't even get to marry. I like skipped marrying and got to be a narrator. And the narrator is the one seen on stage, like on the altar. So I was like, oh, I've made it. I'm the narrator. Everyone's watching me while I'm talking, doing church choir. And then I often say this too, I find we're Catholic, and I find there is a theatrical nature to the Catholic Church because you are essentially there's like a script to it that you follow, and I feel like it's very colorful, and they have different color robes, different holidays, and I was an altar server, and I was the cross bearer at one point. So again, I'm the first eyes people would see walking down to the altar, so all eyes were on me. So I felt like I was kind of performing, performing a part. And then from there I did classes at a place called John Robert Powers. I don't think they exist today, but we heard the commercial on the radio. If you join our studio, you get to be on Disney Channel, and I auditioned. My mom took me to audition, and I don't know, maybe out of like 1,000 kids or something, like only a few got chosen, and I was one of the few.
How old are you then?
That was
when
chosen.
Mom took you then?
10?
10.
10, maybe 11, 12.
Wow.
Like in that middle school age. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I did that, and then got the lead in our school Christmas play in my 8th grade year, and then auditioned for a theater scholarship at Our Lady of Good Counsel High School, which I then got. And then part of that scholarship was being required to do shows at school.
Right.
I had a really good friend, Kaya Harrison. She then took me to audition at community theater. So the whole thing of like spreading the wealth and knowing there's enough for everybody. She took me. She's another Black girl. Took me to this studio where she went all the time, and I got into my first show, my first like real show.
Right.
That was like outside of school. So did that, and I did another studio for a couple years, and then I went to a theater intensive in Florida called Broadway Theater Project, where it felt like the top, you had to audition for it. I got in, and it's like the top kids from the country would go and train at this program, and I got to be one of them.
So really hardcore program.
Yeah,
kind of
it was
acting.
a 3-week intensive. We started at 7 a.m. and ended at like 9 p.m.
What?
And all you're doing all day is singing, dancing, acting, taking classes, reading plays, and doing scenes, and a little bit of writing. That's all you're doing all day. They had a final showcase. I got a bunch of solos in the final showcase.
Wow.
And, you know, as the story goes, my mom wasn't going to come. And then my friend that went, his mom, called my mom and was like, you got to see Phylicia. She's being singled out. And even I didn't really understand that I was like
what?
being singled out and like getting a lot of things.
Yeah.
So then she came and saw that. And I think that was kind of a turning point of like, maybe you can do this. Like you can really achieve. And then the next year I went back senior in high school. I auditioned for a couple of theater programs, but I was still kind of in the path of I could maybe go to school and study economics, which was what I was going to do,
Right.
or I could do theater. And I made a deal with myself: I either get into Columbia University in New York, or I get into Elon University and study theater. It was one of the two. I wasn't going to go anywhere else.
Anywhere else.
Like
Yeah,
I don't even
those
think
are
I
the
didn't
two
tell
options.
anybody. I was like, I'm only going to one of these two schools, and that's it.
What?
And then I got into Elon's theater program. The day of my last show in high school is when I found out I got into Elon, and I was like, well, okay,
I'm in.
I'm just going. Yeah. So that's where it all started.
Thank you. Now, really, just listen to you talking. It's like it was not just quick like that. It was a process.
No, yeah, and it still feels like a process.
Right.
Yeah, it's. I think people look at me and see. I get a lot that I'm very confident a lot, but that's something that's had to grow through getting a lot of no's
Right.
and not being seen for a very long time. You know, in high school, I didn't get many lead roles. I
In
got
high school, right?
yeah, in high school I got my first one junior year, and then senior year, and then in college I was only in one main stage production out of like 30 shows that we did. So I'm paying to go to university to train, and I'm not getting that training of being like chosen to be in a show, and it really took a toll on me, and it was very hard. But as I do, I just dreamed for the future, and I remember saying while I was in school, when I heard that people on like Broadway national tours make more than people on Broadway, I was like, I'm gonna be on a national tour before I graduate. Like I'm just gonna get a national tour, and I'd said that the entirety of my collegiate career, and then got the Lion King national tour the week before I graduated. Yes.
That was one of the biggest role that you got.
Yes.
Right?
Somebody up there is listening.
Whoever that is.
God
right?
is listening to me, so whatever I say is going to come
It's
true.
happening.
Yes.
Wow. And then from there, that's how you got discovered, and you know. And how did you land to the actual Color Purple, the whole?
Color Purple again was this is in the middle of the pandemic.
Right.
I think this is beginning of 2021. I was watching the movie The Prom on Netflix, and was just like, they filmed that during the pandemic. I think I can film something during the pandemic. I want to be in a musical movie. And I wrote down on a piece of paper,
Right.
I will be in a musical movie by the end of this year. Didn't know what it was.
But you just wrote it.
I just wrote it down. I just knew it was going to be a musical movie by the end of this year. I really wanted to do it. I left Lion King to do more TV and film. I thought it was going to be more in the writing. It's both and. I assumed it was going to be more on the writing side, but I was definitely still open to performing. So I wrote that down, and then from there, my good friend Kalila challenged me to make YouTube videos in my basement because everyone's like, you're a big
So that
personality.
moment
Like,
you don't have any video on YouTube?
I don't have, at the time I didn't have, I had
Yeah.
like performing videos,
Right.
but you know, like those influencers just
Yeah.
talk to the camera and like, hi
Right.
guys,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
so
that's about
da-da-da."
it.
She was like, you should just do that
Right.
and you'll be viral. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, great. I thought that I was going to be a viral
Right,
YouTube
right.
star. Didn't happen. But I was able to ask a friend who knew a manager that I wanted to be with in Los Angeles if he would just pass along my information and like a script that I'd written to her to get signed by her. He was very kind and was like, I'll just send a formal email and I'll introduce you to and you can take it from there. And in the signature line, I'd put one of my YouTube videos that had it done pretty well, got like maybe 1,000 views, which at the time I was like, oh,
You're
I'm
like, that's
famous.
big. Yeah,
Oh
you're
my
like,
gosh.
whoa, this.
And I put that in the email line, and she told me in our meeting when we decided to meet, she said, my daughter watched it and wanted to keep watching it. We watched it like 8 times, and that's why I want to sign you. Yeah.
True story.
Yeah, true story.
Oh my God.
So I owe that daughter everything, and I tell her all the time, like, you're my favorite.
You keep on repeating that to her.
Yes,
Wow.
yeah.
Now,
Oh my God, I feel like I didn't answer your question.
No,
But Color Purple.
Yeah, for Color
okay,
Purple, we
Color
got to it.
Purple.
Yeah.
So that's how I get my manager.
Yeah.
Okay, it's everything is so connected.
connected. That's why, right?
Yeah, that's how I get my manager. Then I get my agents through my manager, which is my manager used to work at the agency I'm signed with and hired my agent. So she really just made like a phone call and was like, you're going to sign this client as like a favor to her. Which,
Right.
You know, I had nothing to, I mean, they met with me, but that was an amazing that I had that path.
Right.
And then I'd heard The Color Purple was going to be made into a movie musical. I think they'd announced it, and there are a couple of articles about it. And we went to the Democratic Republic of Congo to bury my grandmother. And in her passing, I remember just saying, something big is going to come from this.
That's grandma?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I was like, something big is going to come from
Oh,
this.
wow.
It's how I coped with it, with the emotion. I was like, something big.
Grandma
whatever
say that.
This is what I said.
Oh, that's
to
what you
cope
said.
with her death.
To cope with
Yeah.
her death, right.
Because
Wow.
and I was like, whatever she couldn't do
Yeah.
on Earth here, she's
Yeah.
going to do from
Do it for-
above.
That was deep, though.
Yeah, and I remember just lying in a bed and something told me just Google The Color Purple auditions.
This is in Congo.
This is Congo. Yeah, so I've been gifted 1 gigabyte of data by a cousin. That's all that I have to like go with, and something said use that 1 gigabyte of data to Google The Color Purple auditions.
What?
And I Google it and it comes up on a website and it's like auditioning for the role of Celie, and I said, oh my God, I want to be in The Color Purple. Wow, I'm going to be in The Color Purple. So I tell my agents I'm going to submit a video. We get the audition. My sister is helping me read the lines on the plane. We didn't have a printer, so I wrote the lines down and learned them. Came back home. I had no voice, but was able to still kind of sing through the big song at the end, I'm Here, put the video on tape, sent it in, and then they said no. They were like, no. What? Yes, they said, we love her, but she's reading a little too young, but we'll keep her in mind for other things.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, but something in me was like, no, this feels very anointed. Like, I think I'm supposed to do this. So again, I wrote down, I'll be playing the role of Celie in the Color Purple movie musical, and I've been hand-selected by the director, Blitz Bazawule, to play the role.
Down.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down, and then went on with my life. I joined a writer's room for a show called Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. I was going to go back to Lion King for a second, and then, so this all happened in like June, so then come September, I get an email from my agent, and they said, they're opening up the role of young Celie, so they're going to separate the parts. Would you like to be considered? And I knew it was mine, but even though I knew it was mine, I was kind of like, no, I don't know. They already like told me no, and I've been
So there was that part telling you that.
yeah, I was just like, I don't, they already seen what I can
Yeah.
do, and there's a part of me thinking I think I might be too old for it. They're saying they want the character to play 12 to like 16. I'm like, oh, I definitely don't look 12. I don't know if I can do it. But I just decided, just put it on tape. I'll
Right.
just audition, and if they like it, sure.
Fine, if not.
And I think that was the key. I had like released it, but still knew I had the capacity to do it, but I wasn't like holding on to
Right.
it very tight.
Right.
So I did the audition. They come back again and say they really liked you. The director would like to do a work session with you. And that is basically where, normally it's in person, and the director can do a lot of work with you in person, and they might bring someone in to read with you, but it was all on Zoom. So
all in Zoom.
I auditioned fully on Zoom
What?
except the last round.
Right.
So we do a work session. He's giving me notes and feedback,
Yeah.
and in my mind, we have an hour set.
Right.
And I was like, oh, if he likes me, like, we'll just do a couple times
Yeah.
and it'll be fine. We took the whole hour. I said, he doesn't like me. This is over. Okay. Get another call like, hi, they want you to fly to LA to do a chemistry read now with Halle Bailey. And I really was like, telling people, like, I think I'm going to be in a movie. I was telling a couple
At that
people,
point, you already telling me.
I was like, I think I'm going to get this really big thing. I can't tell you what it is, but we're going to be celebrating soon.
Oh my God.
And my team kind of felt the same way. They're like, is she going to be in this movie?
How do they feel? Like
it felt amazing.
Yeah.
It just, and again, to the point I said earlier, it felt amazing and so exciting.
Yeah.
But I'd asked for it, and I believed in it, and I knew. So as these things were happening, I was like, okay,
Yeah,
yep,
I knew.
that feels right.
Yeah.
I knew they were going to come
I already
back.
asked for it. I know it's
Yeah.
coming. Yeah.
And then went to LA, did the final chemistry read in person with Halle, and that went really well. She was so nice the second we met, and we played, if you've seen the film, the game we play in the tree,
Yeah, I've
we
seen
made
that
up our own version and did that in the room, and they were like, okay, great, you guys can leave, thank you. And I walked outside and I called my agent and was like, I just got the movie. You haven't gotten the offer, but I'm letting you know that I've gotten it. So just keep your phone line open. And and then I found out like 3 days later that they said my agent's like, you are the choice. They're choosing you. You're the one they want. If you're willing to take it. I was like, of course I'm gonna take
You're
it.
like, what? Don't tell me this twice.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That's the long story. It was like a year process.
Exactly.
Of doing different things.
Doing all different things and hoping. Now, I know mom has been a big part.
Yes.
You were telling us how mom was a big part, on your career, acting, whatever. When you called mom and told mom, how's mom's reaction?
Well, we kept it from her. I told my sister.
Oh, you kept it
for a
really?
little bit, and we both agreed. Because,
Yeah.
the Congolese community is one text. Everybody knows everything. I didn't have
know.
a contract yet.
I know.
So I
You guys
just,
were
I
good.
just had to keep it, just in case somebody.
You never know. Right.
On what WhatsApp group it's going to end up in.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They'll be like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and those deals are very private.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
So we told her, I don't remember, maybe right before Christmas, and I was wearing all purple suit. I'd had the script printed. I had a purple bag and purple like tissue paper, and I said, "Open it." And she opens and goes, "What?" She didn't get what it was at first, and I
Right.
was like, "Read it." And she
Yeah.
says, "The color." And the video, my sister took a video that
Yeah.
lives
Right.
somewhere. Yeah, and then I just remember
Wow.
her saying, like, you've been waiting for so long.
Yeah.
And finally, your
Finally.
big break. And then, of course, she was more excited that Oprah
course.
was going to be producing. Forget me. Once you heard Oprah was
Once you heard
done, she
Oprah
forgot
was
about
there.
me.
Wow. So finally when you met Oprah the
Yeah.
first time, how did she react?
She was so kind.
Yeah.
And was like, Phylicia, all that stuff. She's exactly as you think she is.
Yeah.
And said, I've been watching, there's something called the dailies where they film and then they can send them off for people like the producers to watch
Produce some stuff
and
to
give
watch
notes
and see.
and feedback.
Oh,
Yeah.
so they give their feedback about every cast
Yeah,
member.
scene was going on, so she'd seen those. Because by the time I met her,
Right.
we'd been working for maybe 2 weeks, or maybe I'd been working for a week or two. So she said she'd been watching those and that they were great, and I was doing so well, and she was proud of me. And I remember saying, "You made me wait to meet you all this time." Okay, girl.
This is like Michael Jordan telling me, Roger, I like your shot.
Yeah.
This is how I feel.
I know.
This is
It was-
Oprah,
It was crazy.
Yeah.
But it also, again, was like, I knew I was going to meet her. I told people forever, she's going to be my friend.
I love that feeling, that you just knowing. And that's what's deep about this conversation that we're having, because you already knew. Like everything
Yeah.
is happening. You're like, okay, yeah, it's cool. I love it. But I knew it.
Yeah. I knew I would meet her one day.
Awesome.
I knew.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were excited, but not like, not.
Like out of my wildest
Yeah.
dreams, like the way the process was out of my wildest dreams, but this was the dream the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was always going to, and it's so interesting, the blessing that comes with it, because if the project didn't mean so much to Oprah, we wouldn't be remaking it. And if I didn't feel a connection, I often say I feel so connected to Cynthia Erivo and LaShawn, who both played Celie on Broadway. They're two beautiful black women with these big voices, but then you look at them, they're short. And I've always been like, that's me. Like, I'm a shorty like them. They're small. Yeah. So it's such an honor to be part of a project where so many different people have their own personal connection to it. I think that's very rare.
Right. Yeah. And Phylicia, talk about Oprah, but what was it like working alongside not just Oprah and them, but all the cast, of the movie itself? And did you have like any, how should I say, like a standout moment during the filming of the movie? Yeah.
Well, working with everyone was so special.
There's like a bunch of professionals, right?
Yeah, they're like actors. Some actors at the top of their game, and then we have some musicians whose first film this was, or only second film.
Okay.
So it feels like everyone coming from different walks of life really came together. And what I loved so much about it is all of the actors that are coming to the piece are all theater people, which is where I trained in theater. That's what you trained. That's you. Yes. Yeah. It's a very.
So you could connect easily.
Yeah, and it's a very specific take on the material and how you approach material. So they could always relate to me when I would. I would stay in the Southern accent that I was in for a little bit longer, just to make sure it was really in my body. Like theater is really all about your body, because that's what like an audience can see your body work. There's no close up in theater.
It's the whole full body.
Acting, right. So I really appreciated that they all understood that, and then each of them had said, at one point in their career they were new. They felt a little imposter syndrome. They felt like they didn't belong, and it was very important for me not to feel that way. So they really empowered me all the time and spoke such positivity into me and my work. And if I needed anything, they were always there for me. Yeah.
That is that's just awesome. Now, let's also talk about the Keep It Moving, right?
Yeah.
That's the song, right? Which was a really powerful and emotional song in the film. How did you approach collaborating with one of my favorite actresses in the world?
Oh, she's amazing. She's one of my favorites. She's one of mine. I love that she's getting to be in something like this.
I watched that woman since I was a kid. I was younger.
So much more dimension. She's amazing.
And you guys collaborate on that song. That's just awesome.
Really, Hallie wrote it.
Oh, Hallie
wrote it. Yes. Okay. She wrote it I think she wrote it on vacation, which is crazy to think about. She was on vacation writing this. And she played it for me early on in the process. I think we hadn't even started filming yet, and she played it for me. And I just remember being in awe of I can't believe. And she said, we kind of like talked about it a little bit on what they want the song to be, and I came up with this. And I just remember thinking, how cool that they have someone like her that's going to relate to a younger generation, but the song is still honors the time period and the piece, and it's just going to be like connective tissue between the younger people who've never seen The Color Purple. This is their first introduction, and people who grew up with The Color Purple. And then just working with her, we just had so much. I wish I could say anything else. We just had so much fun.
So much fun.
Yes, which is I think so rare in a piece like this. You know, so much of this piece is based in trauma and hardship of the two sisters, and this was such a fun moment just to run around on the beach and dance on the beach, and
this is just awesome.
And it was. We filmed that like the first 2 or 3 days of filming, and I remember it started raining on the beach, and we both were like, "We'll keep going. We're having so much fun."
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Now, as both, because I was saying at the beginning of this interview that we're having right now, you're an actress, but you're also a writer, right? How do you find yourself drawn, more to one aspect of, storytelling over the other one? I mean, do you feel like you're more? Which one do you like more? And it's
such a hard question.
It is, I know, because knowing you're like a theater person as well, professional in that, just like you're writing and you're acting. I mean.
Yeah. I think the whole
Yeah.
Okay. I'll say the difference, and then maybe that'll help me get my. The difference between the reason why I love acting is because it allows me to escape who I am. And escape what's going on in my life.
Sounds to me like you enjoy more writing than acting.
But the thing about writing is I feel like writing brings me closer to who I am. Like I write in a bubble, I write alone. When you're acting, you're around people, and you're feeding off other people's energy. But writing is really your own. I'm in control and I'm in charge. To an extent, like I'm in control and I'm in charge and I'm creating the world. Where acting, you're a vessel to somebody else's world. I would say treatment as an actor, untouched. That's my favorite thing in the world, is being on a set and people like driving you around in a go-kart, or anything you ask, they will get for you because they know how precious you are. And again, as a writer, as they say, you do a lot of like free work before you get paid, but it's work that I love doing. So I don't have an answer to your question. Come back to
We get a point.
When I star in my own show, and I'm doing both at the same time.
I'll come back to you. You
yes,
look. I will.
Yes, when I'm writing and starring in my own project.
You know that question will come back.
And we'll see if I have an answer.
Right, right. Now, what challenges, if any, did you face transitioning from theater to television and film, if I should say it that way, and how did you overcome them? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, again, but these are different things, right? Oh, okay.
I think first and foremost, the biggest challenge for a lot, and not just myself, a lot of friends that are going through it, is the access to getting TV and film auditions when you come from theater. I do believe there is a little bit of a stigma on theater performers. I think we get like they're big and braggadocious and they're playing for big crowds and they don't have the skill to do TV and film. Where I think a good actor can go between both pretty seamlessly. So that's a challenge, just being able to get auditions. I got very lucky that I was able to find someone who then was an advocate for me and got me in certain rooms. And then just acting wise, again, like theater is you're trying to reach, you want the last person in the last row of the house of like a 5,000 people house to feel like you're talking just to them. So you have to be big and bold and go up this way. And then film, you want people who are sitting in a theater 2 years after you've done something to feel the same emotion, but your scene partner is like, this is just the camera lens. Or it's just me talking to you across the way. So if I were to start screaming and yelling as though someone's back there, they'd be like, what? That doesn't feel right on TV and film. So I think it's just a challenge learning how to pull what tool out of the toolbox.
To be able to move to the next song.
Yeah, and I think you can kind of see it, like my tendency was to look up a lot on film, and they'd be like, look down, and I wouldn't understand. I'd be like, but they can't see me. And they're like, well, the camera can't see you, so bring your face down.
Yeah, right. So that's a challenge. That sounds like it would be more a challenge. Now, you and I were talking a little beginning of this off camera, how you also today represent a lot for the young actress and actors who are especially Black and African Americans, Africans, Congolese, if I should go down. What advice, Phylicia, would you give to inspiring actors in general and writers who are navigating, a career in this industry? With the experience that you have right now.
The first part isn't necessarily advice. I almost think I take it as fact. If you have the desire, you're meant to do it. I often say I have never, ever wanted to be an ice skater in my life. I've never wanted to figure skate. I don't ever need to be on anyone's ice, so I know I'm not meant to do that. But I've always wanted to be an actor, and I've always wanted to be a writer, so I know that I'm meant to do that. So if you're someone who has even a little inkling or like want to get a taste of it, try it out. I think you're probably meant to do it for some reason. Whether it's a career or just like fun or like it will lead you to something else on the other side of it, just try it out. Don't be the one to hinder your dreams. Because there are plenty of people in the world who would do that for you.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And then just know who you are and what you have to offer and what makes you unique and special, because that is the thing, is when they're looking for casting and for parts, you're going to tell them what they need before they even know they need it. When you walk in as who you are, there's something I feel very undeniable about that and attractive about that even if it's not the exact project you're auditioning for, they'll remember you and they'll find a place to put you just because you're so authentic in who you are.
Great advice, Philly. Are there any upcoming project role in particular that you can tell us that you're working on right now?
I'm waiting to hear back from a couple. So this is it's like I said, excited possibility. I'm just waiting to see what lands and what's going to be right. And then, of course, writing my own show that I hope, about my time in Lion King, that I hope.
Awesome.
I hope will go soon. We're taking it out to pitch to companies very soon. So I'm excited about that.
Wow, congrats on that.
Thank you.
Now, I guess lastly, my question is, what legacy do you hope? And I know you still have a long career, you're a young lady today, but I'm sure you're seeing the future already. But what legacy do you hope to leave through your contribution in art? Because it seems like it's something that you love doing. How do you envision the legacy that you want, in this industry?
It's a really good question.
And you have time. You don't have to answer today.
Well, I'll say when people think of me, they think they're inspired by the struggle, not necessarily the product. Because I think that I'm going through and have gone through things either so someone else doesn't have to, or so when they go through it, they can see me and say, she got through it, so I can get through it too. And I think I hope they always think of me as someone who's joyous and fun and brings laughter and light into the world. And then as far as my legacy in the industry, okay, two things. Okay, now I'm getting into it.
I like that.
One,
I love that part.
because it's something I dealt with this idea of time and feeling like you're too late. I would love to be someone when they think of me, they're like, she broke down the notion that you have to start when you're young, or when you're 30, it's too late, or when you're 40, it's too late. Phylicia got into the game when she got into the game, and look at all that she's done afterwards. I would love people to see my legacy that way, of someone who was like, I was never late, I was always on time. And then I would love to be someone who stands for artists touching other mediums. I think so often artists get put in a box. You're an actor, you're a writer, you're a director, you're a producer, you're a painter, you're a singer. You can only be that. No. I hope to be someone who gets to touch every single facet of the industry and leave a positive legacy on it that way.
I like that.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe my last question on this part. You know how much this means to Congolese. That you are, that I am.
Yes. They tell me.
Right? Exactly. This is represent a lot, and that's 100 million people in those countries. And for them to have one of the daughters, the girl, the sister in Hollywood representing them, what is it that you, I mean, how do you feel about it though? How do you feel about it do you even think about it? Do you even sit down and even think about that? Or then mom talks to you about this kind of things? What it means to her, to the whole 100 million people who are like, and Congolese, they're like, she's Congolese.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. They're in my Instagram DMs. They are.
I already knew.
And, I see the flag and I'm like, okay, like, great.
I got it. So you feel how proud they are.
I do. I feel proud. I feel a responsibility.
Yes. That's what I was getting.
Yeah, I definitely feel as though, I have so many people in my life are so successful. My sisters are so successful, but I think there's a reason that my success is going to transcend and hopefully become global and international, and I'll be able to be the face of something. And I'm really excited and honored that that face of the movement is going to hopefully be one that's filled with joy and this idea of thinking outside of the box when you think of your life. I'm such a dreamer. I'm such an imaginator. And I think sometimes that's rare in our culture. I think sometimes, you believe you can only be three things, like a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, that's it. And I was like, no, I want to be something else. And I hear often from many Congolese people that they had this desire and they didn't go through it, but now they've seen me, they feel like they can succeed, or they feel like they don't have to be a nurse, so they can be something else. And that's really, really special to me. And then I think at the same time, I don't think about it, because I think the most powerful thing I can do is be authentically myself and be someone who represents maybe a different type of, African woman in the media, because I don't want to feel repressed. I want to be able to be fully myself and allow someone else to be fully themselves.
Right.
And I think that is the biggest form of like resistance and power that we have as African youth, is being ourselves.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. Telling you, Phylicia, again, it's an honor, it's a privilege. It was great to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for the time
much.
you've given
It was
us.
so nice
This
to
is
meet
great.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.